In 1956, the classic horror film, The Invasion of the Body Snatchers, was released. The horror movie was groundbreaking at the time, as up until that point, all aliens in movies were shown to be hideous creatures. The film, though, introduced a new concept that evil beings looked exactly like us. The idea was quite original and spawned multiple remakes, including one of the best horror remakes of all time, the 1978 film Invasion of the Body Snatchers, starring Donald Sutherland. In 1993 and 2007, two other remakes were done, and while they weren't terrific movies, I did think we wouldn't see any more remakes of this film for quite some time. That all changed when in 2019 the film Assimilate was released. It's not an exact remake or requel, but it certainly draws inspiration from the original. The film follows the main storyline and stays true, albeit the central characters are teenagers in the film. In this episode, we'll review the movie Assimilate, and you can decide whether it's worth a watch or not. The movie opens with a modern-day classic horror scene, a young woman alone and being stalked by something outside the home. We eventually see the woman attacked, and although it's not exactly clear by whom at this point, the movie could have probably done without this scene, as it doesn't add much to the story. Next, we're introduced to our main characters, Zach and Randy. Zach and Randy are high school seniors living in a small, boring town in Missouri. They start a YouTube channel with the intent on showing people their life in the town and the lack of things to do. Creepily, the boys plan on going around and recording unsuspecting people using hidden cameras. For some reason, Zach and Randy seem to ignore that recording people without permission is not only deceptive, but can also lead to a variety of legal issues and all sorts of trouble. They eventually record the football quarterback buying beer with the sheriff right there. After a few more video shots, they speak with the pastor and eventually run into a woman named Miss Bizette. Miss Bizette is concerned as there's some strange bugs eating one of her apples and they're moving erratically. I'm not sure why she would ask high school boys about the bugs, but they don't seem like the right people to be talking to about this. Next, we see a close-up of the bugs dropping from the sky, and at this point, anyone who has seen Invasion of the Body Snatchers probably understands what's going to happen next. Still, the 2007 film wasn't a hit, so probably most younger people are unfamiliar with the story. The movie doesn't completely give it away too early, but it's somewhat obvious what's going to happen. We are then introduced to the third main character in the film, high school senior and Zach's love interest, Kayla. Randy encourages Zach to ask her out before school ends. Kayla plans on going overseas to study, and Zach, with a disabled father, plans on sticking around to help his mother. That night, Zach and Randy stop by and talk with Zach's parents, and after an awkward scene comes up when Zach's dad starts ranting about losing his job to overseas manufacturing, the boys head out to the football field and throw the frisbee around. Soon they hear a scream. They run up, and it came from Miss Bisette's house. The boys enter the home, and it's dark. They're not sure who screamed or what happened. They eventually head upstairs, and Miss Bisette is hiding in a closet. As the boys open the door, Miss Bisette is curled up and terrified. She says something bitter on the leg. The boys then start searching around the home, and some sort of critter jumps out and out the window. The boys chase it, and eventually it runs into the road. There, a truck with a few people stop and put it in an ice cooler. One of the people in the truck is the pastor. The boys have recorded the whole thing. The next day, the boys head to the police station and show the sheriff, but he's completely disinterested. After this, the boys head over to confront the priest about what he was doing last night. Now right here, Zach and Randy need to be much smarter. After what they just witnessed last night, they need to be viewing Pastor Greg as a threat and dangerous. They just watched a critter attack Miss Bissette and the pastor come to collect it. I get that they think they might know him, but something's definitely wrong with this pastor, and he's into some weird stuff. Storming in to confront him is probably not the best choice. Still, Zach and Randy head into the church and soon down into the basement. There's an exit sign in the hallway, so that's definitely an encouraging sign if things get ugly. They soon find Father sitting around with a bunch of other townspeople. The boys show Pastor Greg the video and ask him about it. He denies it and then crudely insults the boys' parents. The boys head out and discuss posting the video on the web. However, there's no internet access right now, so they can't. Right here, we see one of the big problems Randy and Zach have in this movie. They seem to believe that posting about what's going on is going to solve the issue. It's not clear why, though. They have a tiny YouTube channel, and odds are, by the time anyone actually sees their content, if it ever actually does go viral, it's going to be too late. Their footage doesn't possess anything that shows potential to blow up the internet. It's just a lot of weird conversations and events. This is a consistent issue in the movie and becomes worse the stranger things get. Coming back to the story, that night, Zach and Randy decide to go speak to Miss Bissett about the pastor. Miss Bissett is acting strange too, and she tells the boys she was never bit. Not only is she acting weird, but in a Miss Robinson type of way, she starts to seduce the boys and try and get them to the bedroom. The boys are tempted, but leave as they're confused. They then peek through the window and see the football jock tied up. Someone bangs on the window who appears to be the football jock, and the boys flee. They're confused, though, as there appears to be two of them in the room. On the street, they soon run into Kayla. Kayla tells them their dad is acting weird and she can't find her mom. The three go to the house, and her dad begins talking with them, completely devoid of emotion. Zach asks to use the bathroom and goes upstairs and eventually ends up in the bathroom. In there, he opens the hamper and finds Kayla's mom dead and shoved in a horrific manner. The three head out of the home, and Zach is clearly worked up. He tries to stop Kayla from watching the video, but she insists, and a devastated Kayla sees her mom stuffed in the hamper like a crash test dummy. Kayla's focus at this point is saving her younger brother Joey, who's being held by her imposter father. The next day, the group shows the film to Deputy Josh Haywood. Haywood and the kids head over to the home and confront Kayla's imposter father. Soon, Kayla's imposter mom walks in from around the corner. She's emotionless, and Deputy Haywood is convinced it's some type of prank at this point. The trio insists that something is going on here, but Haywood isn't convinced and is somewhat pressured by the imposters. Even worse for the three is they can't get Kayla's brother out of there. The trio then heads to Zach's house to check on his parents. His dad is in the barn and soon stands up. He's got his legs back, and it's clear he's not himself. A posse of doubles then shows up and locks Zach and Randy in the barn. Kayla had left a few moments earlier to look for Zach's mom. The doubles then release several bugs into the dark barn in hopes of duplicating Zach and Randy. During this chaos, Zach sees his mom has been killed too, and the boys luckily escape with their lives as Kayla opens the locked barn door. Unfortunately, Randy was bit during all the chaos. The three run off and go to Haywood's trailer. At this point, they can't trust anyone, and after Haywood proves he's actually himself, they enter his trailer. Haywood tells them he believes them now and shows the corpse of his double in the closet. We now know these things can be killed, and with Haywood, they need to just go. However, they stay and discuss what's been happening. At this point, they understand that the critters bite you, take your DNA. They then go off and cocoon, essentially creating an exact replica. Once they break out of the cocoon, they head off to kill the original person and take their place. Around this time, we see Randy's imposter coming toward the trailer. He soon yells out and a posse of doubles comes. The group is badly outnumbered, and eventually the replicas tip over the trailer. Haywood is killed in the fight, and Randy sacrifices himself so that Kayla and Zach can live. Kayla and Zach head into town and decide to steal a van, pick up Kayla's brother, and GTFO. At this point, leaving should be their top priority, but there's no way they're leaving without Joey. As they're making their way to the van, Zach gets the keys and Kayla spots the imposters, leading the children to be duplicated. She then sees Joey and freaks out. She begins walking over, pretending to be an imposter. However, when she sees Joey, the two can't hold back their emotion, and an imposter notices. Kayla sacrifices herself and tells Joey to run to the cabin. The replicas grab Kayla and hold her down so she can be copied. Right as this is happening, Zach drives in and rescues Kayla. They drive off and start heading out of town. Soon their car breaks down and they head off into the woods to one of Zach's fishing spots. Randy's copy, knowing the spot, eventually catches up with them, but before he can signal the other imposters, Zach and Kayla drown him. It's not clear though why Randy was alone. Maybe he can't join the group until he kills his original. Zach and Kayla decide to head to a communication station, knowing their internet upload can't be blocked if they directly upload it. They arrive, and soon both their doubles come to kill them. They're able to upload their video though, and eventually they flood the control room with CO2, killing their doubles. Coming back to the upload will save everything theory, I'm not sure why Zach and Randy are so convinced this will solve all their problems. Let's say, for example, that outside their town everyone is fine and not infected. Even if the police come from outside or the FBI, which scenario are they more likely to believe? That their entire town has been replaced by exact duplicates and are actually aliens? Or that actually two teenagers are just playing a prank to get views on YouTube? Coming back to the film, in the next scene, we see the two head to the cabin and find a normal Joey. As they look on the television, they're horrified to see that the replicas have taken over everywhere. We see multiple cities and countries, and Zach comes to the horrifying conclusion they were the last town to be affected. In the final scene, we see their YouTube video and responses starting to pour in. Other people, not many, have survived the invasion. Assimilate overall is a pretty solid film, although this concept has been done several times before. It even seems to occur quite often in horror movies now. The film manages to keep viewers engaged. The copies, in particular the pastor, come across as quite creepy. The movie has good pacing, and seeing it through the lens of a teenager is definitely a new angle. Overall, I'd recommend this movie as a solid film to watch.